First and foremost, it harkens back to what we heard during the campaign when President Trump talked about the enemy from within. You know, that effort where they clearly are targeting inwards and trying to make Americans the enemy of other Americans. And that is just the kind of divisiveness that is just so damaging. And I just want to say to the workers at USAID, as someone who worked there at USAID, I appreciate what they have done. And I'm sorry for what they're going through as we see a president disrespecting workers of his own executive branch.
Elon Musk, as shadow president, has decided that not only do the rules not apply to him, but he thinks the Supreme Court gave Donald Trump immunity as president. I'm shadow president. I must have immunity as well. And so he has decided he will commit every crime he possibly can in advancing his and Donald Trump's agenda, even though at this point, I think it's just Elon's, because Donald Trump kind of works for him. And the latest example of that was his idea that he can completely shut down Slash and get rid of us. Aiden Democrats weren't having because Elon's actions are illegal. And he does not get to dictate the policy of this country, because I sure as hell did not vote for Elon and no one else did. And that is why Democrats calling him out not only the ridiculous policy, but the illegal action. And one Democrat specifically who has really triggered Elon Musk, and that is newly elected Senator just last year, Andy Kim. And we are going to get into that all. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already, and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me now. Before we get into Elon meltdown, let's check out what Senator Kim had to say.
Marco Rubio, who now apparently is both Secretary of State and the head of USAID, has said that there is someone that he's empowered to begin a process of reviewing all of this work. Apparently that person is Peter Marocco, somebody who allegedly was at the January 6th insurrection. He is the person that Rubio has sent a letter saying that this is the person that's going to be in charge. Does that need authorization from Congress?
Well, everything that they're doing right now is just geared towards undermining this institution that is codified in statute by the U.S. Congress. Their actions to try to reorganize as well as dismantle USAID is illegal. And that was something that I tried to raise when I went to USAID today. I mean, I walked through those doors of USAID over 20 years ago for my very first day working for the federal government. I was so proud to be able to serve the country in that way and to demonize these public servants, to try to take this incredibly important national security tool that we have off the table when we have real threats emanating from Russia, China, and elsewhere. You know, this is something that's just going to make our country less safe and really shows the undermining of rule of law in our nation.
I want to talk to you just a little bit about the seeming ideologies that are percolating among the people who are trying to take over our government. According to Semaphore, one of the people that is being elevated to fill a key State Department role is someone named Darren Beatty. Darren Beatty, who was fired from the first Trump administration for having some associations with white nationalists. He has posted things on X Twitter. This is back in October of 2024. Competent white men must be in charge if you want things to work. Competent white men must be in charge. In January, he's done January 6 tweets. Ibram Kendi, this is a man who is a black intellectual, about that does anti-racism work, needs to learn his place and take a knee to MAGA. Learn his proper role in our society. Ibram Kendi is black. Tim Scott, black senator from South Carolina, needs to learn his place and take a knee to MAGA. BLM, Black Lives Matter, must take a knee to MAGA. They must learn their place. Kay Cole James of Heritage Foundation, a conservative woman who is running the Heritage Foundation, needs to learn her natural place and take a knee to MAGA. So this man has named black people, liberal and conservative, including pro-Trump Republicans, and said these black people need to learn their place and that competent white men must be in charge if you want things to work. That guy's at state. Any issues with that?
Well, and not just that he's at state, but I believe he's being nominated for an undersecretary of state position. Meanwhile, he is somebody who has said that the Uyghurs, the atrocities against the Uyghurs in China hasn't happened. He is somebody that talked about how, we shouldn't be getting involved in supporting Taiwan. This is something that we see just across the board. And when Trump is talking about, or Elon Musk is talking about, we need to make sure people are rising up when it's based off of merit, you see that that's absolutely not what their motivation actually is. They're demonizing public servants that have worked in difficult and dangerous places around the world. Meanwhile, they're elevating people like the person you just mentioned, that is clearly, it's about loyalty, and it's about people who will do whatever Trump and Elon Musk tell them to do.
Yeah, the men that they're elevating are from the Real World Boston and Fox Weekends. I'm really not sure they're hiring the most competent.
Yeah, where did the meritocracy come from when it came to that?
Yeah, they had the right demographics for the connection, apparently. I want to move on to Elon Musk himself. You worked for USAID. This is what Elon Musk has said about USAID. USAID is a criminal organization. Time for it to die. USAID is evil. USAID was a viper's nest of radical left Marxists who hate America. USAID is a criminal organization. One wonders if maybe it's some resentment for USAID having helped to overthrow the white South African government in where he grew up, the right-wing white South African government. I don't know if that's it. I really couldn't tell you what his motivations are. But your thoughts on that, and him also claiming that it's a crime for Wired magazine to have divulged through journalism who he has running basically the government, these young people, and the new acting U.S. attorney from D.C. essentially threatening anyone who does any investigations of Elon Musk's Doge.
This is something that we see just across the board that is just so worrisome. First and foremost, it harkens back to what we heard during the campaign when President Trump talked about the enemy from within. That effort where they clearly are targeting inwards and trying to make Americans the enemy of other Americans. And that is just the kind of divisiveness that is just so damaging. And I just want to say to the workers at USAID, as someone who worked there at USAID, I appreciate what they have done, and I'm sorry for what they're going through as we see a president disrespecting workers of his own executive branch, and this kind of demonization is something that is absolutely wrong. And what we see also is the empowering of these people working for Mr. Musk that are going in, not having the security clearance that is needed to be able to do this. If they're doing this at USAID and trying to access classified information there, we know that that's happening at the Pentagon. We know that's probably happened at the State Department through the intelligence community. We deserve to know if Secretary Hegseth, Secretary Rubio, and others have given access to these people and what it is that they are looking at. These are the American people's documents, our secrets, our efforts that we recognize that people's lives are on the line when it comes to classified information, and we deserve answers about that.
And think about the chilling effect of every single person at USAID and USAID knowing that Elon Musk potentially has their data and could post it on X Twitter anytime he wanted, or could, dox them. There's nothing that he couldn't do if he's got all of your data. Even if you like Trump, you need to think about the fact that he has all your data and can turn off your Social Security payments.
Just an incredible interview from Senator Andy Kim, someone who I have really quickly grown fond of. I think he does an incredible job messaging. And we're going to get into more of that messaging in just a bit. But of course, Elon was not happy with any of the Democrats who showed up to protest yesterday. And so he took to X Twitter, or whatever you want to call it, just call it the evil app of screams at this point, and had this to say. Elon wrote the corrupt politicians protesting outside the USAID building are the ones getting money from USAID. That's why they're there. They want your stolen tax dollars. I am unsure if Mr. Musk is aware of irony and how ironic all of his statements are. One, that politicians, Democratic politicians, there are the corrupt ones and not Elon Musk, or who's stealing whose tax dollars. Because last I checked, Elon's got about 400 billion, and he's not spending any of his own money on his rockets. He's making sure we're footing the bill for his fun little project for him to go to space and play astronaut. We're paying for that. We're the ones subsidizing Elon Musk's biggest corporation in Tesla. Those are our tax dollars. Those are your carbon credits, keeping your stock price up. So I'd check yourself there on both of those things, by the way. As you commit crimes. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And that is exactly what Andy Kim continued to talk about. And I love that the senator drew on a very personal story. I think it's great messaging. I think it really works. And what he said right here.
I'm Senator Andy Kim from New Jersey. About 20 years ago, when I first came to work for the federal government, I walked through these doors right behind me. I was started off my career in public service at USAID, and I just have to say how proud I was to be able to serve the country, how proud I was to work for USAID, to be part of the foreign policy of this country. And I have to tell you, it was really tough today walking through these same doors 20 some years later, only to see it shut down to employees. Now, I got all weekend long, I was getting calls and phone calls from people that I worked with at USAID before, people that are there now, people who have been disrespected by this administration that pushes them to the side, basically calls them criminals, and tells them not to show up to work today. In fact, I went inside trying to speak to the acting administrator, Gray. Unfortunately, was not able to meet with him, and I'm going to continue to try today to be able to meet with the acting administrator because I want to hear straight from him. These are the orders that he gave. You have mysterious people within this new administration sending out emails across the entirety of USAID telling them not to show up. I talked to this. I talked to the security guard. I talked to the security guard just in there. He said he has been given specific orders to prevent employees of USAID from entering the building today. And I just find that to be absolutely ridiculous. This is no way to govern. This is no way to treat public servants. And this is no way for us to conduct our foreign policy as a country. So I just had to show up today, see it with my own eyes, the chaos of this administration and just their attacks upon public servants in our country.
This is something that you may have heard me say previously on the show, that of course a lot of times Democrats deliver the popular message. Republicans deliver the unpopular message. They take the unpopular action. But it's about making what is popular or what is unpopular important, bringing the salience to the issue, telling people how it's going to impact their lives directly, why this matters. It's one thing for us to push the popular agenda. It's another to make sure people really care about it. Personalizing those stories, personalizing those policies is doing a great job. Doing that, I commend Senator Andy Kim. I commend everyone showing a little HSA and just using their voice to push back against Elon in as public of a way as possible. We need more voices. We need them all the time. I love to see it. We're going to be one of those voices on this show every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, drop blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.